Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them, that taught us this truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. The brother Yahshua here with a quick lesson going into fighting in the streets. All right, so we're just going to start right here with David Pakman. The David Pakman Show channel, November 3rd, which is yesterday. Today's the 4th. And it reads 30% of Republicans now openly support violence. Okay, now when you read this word Republican, you know, not that that's only dealing with Edomites, because Edomites on both sides, but these are the openly violent Edomites that have a problem, so to speak, with Black Lives Matter, even though Black Lives Matter is a bunch of Edomites, okay? And they're going to use that to create and start this race war that's coming. So let's watch this.
So we know intuitively, and we know because of what happened on January 6th, that there are some Republicans, some portion of the Republican electorate that is willing to turn to violence, that sees violence as legitimate or at least justified in order to achieve their political goals. There's a new study from the Public Religion Research Institute that looks very specifically at who are the Americans that are willing to turn to violence to achieve their political objectives. And we're going to look at that right now. Salon summarizes this as an alarming finding, but no surprise. Many Republicans now ready to support violence. New PRRI poll finds direct links between Trump's big lie, far-right media, and support for potential violence. New public opinion research. The 12th Annual American Values Survey from the Public Religion Research Institute has alarming findings. Close to a third of Republicans in the survey, 30%, agree with the statement, true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country.
That's ridiculous. First of all, Babylon the Great is going to be burned to a crisp, and all the Edomites and all the heathen and you wicked two-third ass jakes are going to be burned up with it, first of all. But yes, there's going to be a great upheaval right before any of this goes down. And you're using all of these cover words and semantics, all right, to try to tell the story that you're telling. But we understand what the Most High said is going to happen, all right? Jacob, Esau hates Jacob and vice versa, according to the scriptures. Here's what you're not saying, all right? And it's time for this devil to go into captivity, and he's not going to go into captivity willingly. He's going to fight. He's going to yet durst fight until the very end, okay? So let this guy finish what he's saying, and then we'll break it down.
It's more than the combined total of Democrats and independents who say the same thing at 11 and 17% respectively. Let's look at the numbers. We're going to look at some other elements of this study because it's really well done, really interesting. The question was, how do you agree with the statement? True American patriots might have to resort to violence in order to save our country per party affiliation and selected attitude. So,
now, anybody trying to save Babylon the Great, first of all, you are under strong delusion, all right? First of all, it's not your country. First of all, it was with violence that you stole it in the first place. So what do you mean resort to violence? The violence is never ending. All we got to do is pull up Without Sanctuary. All we got to do is pull up George Floyd or cuffing a Negro and shooting him in the back, a constable on patrol. What do you mean resort to? That was how you took it. That's the way you've maintained it. What the fuck are you talking about? As though you have any civility if you're civilized at any length. What the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, almost 1/5 of Americans do believe that true American patriots might have to resort to violence to save their country. All right, 18% of
You resorted to violence to steal the country. So at what point, at what time did it calm down, or when did you stop doing exactly what you've done from the very fucking beginning? So, I mean, the truth, if you got a problem with the truth, you don't want to watch these videos.
Americans say yes. The largest group by party identification is Republicans. 30% of Republicans believe violence may be justified to save the country. What's very interesting is that if you look at their media consumption, the Republicans who trust mainstream news, only 22% believe they may need to turn to violence. Of the Republicans who most trust Fox News, the number goes up to 32% believe they may need to turn to violence. And if Fox News is too liberal for Republicans and they only trust far right news, presumably stuff like Newsmax, OAN, and conspiracy stuff, then a full 40% of them, 40% believe that violence may be justified, which is stunning. Now, 17% of independents and about 1 out of 10 Democrats also believe the same. And in terms,
so what's going on is the Most High is stirring up both sides of this war that's been going on since 2 children were conceived in Rebecca's womb or in her belly. All right. So let's not get it twisted. We know what the truth is, and we're going to point it out.
specific beliefs, if you believe that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump, there's a 4 out of 10 chance that you also believe violence may be necessary or appropriate. If you believe God has granted America a special role in human history,
He has. Okay. God has granted Babylon the Great a special role in human history. Okay. And if you don't understand that, then you're probably stupid enough to think that you can save it. All right. The Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, is going to destroy Babylon the Great. So nobody can save it. And to think that you can save it, all right, and not understand that the way that you stole it is the way that you're going to lose it, through violence, all right? You got to be under strong delusion to believe anything other than that.
% chance. Okay, so those are very, very disturbing numbers for one very specific reason. There are 30% of Republicans willing to admit in a poll that they would be supportive of violence.
Now, that's just the devil telling the truth, which he very rarely does.
How many Republicans would be supportive of violence but aren't willing to admit it in a poll?
Those are the ones that have a problem telling the truth.
Some number for sure, and I don't know exactly what that number would be, but that's also a significant concern. Now, there's lots of things to look at in this study. Just a couple of others in terms of attitudes, and I encourage you to check. We're linking to this. Check out the entire study. One interesting question that was studied is: has the U.S. always been a force for good in the world?
Wow. This devil believes his own lies. Okay? You mean a force for good? Okay? Why is the Most High going to destroy this place? Because your sins have reached up to the heavens, starting with the extermination of the North American Indian, stealing this land. What are you doing down there on the Mexican border? You're doing the same thing you did in 1492. The fuck are you talking about?
And has there never been a time you were not proud to be an American?
Proud. See, what cometh before the fall? Before the fall of Babylon? Babylon the Great is fallen, your pride.
So overall, 74% of Americans believe America has always been a force for good in the world.
Okay, there you have it. All right, and we could go on. Go back and watch this, David Pakman, all right? Let's get to the scriptures. Let's start right here at the beginning. All right, Jacob and Esau are brothers. All right, well, let's get the fight. Let's get where it all started. Genesis 25. Let's start at the beginning. Okay, so Genesis 25. And start at 22. And the children struggled together within her. See that struggled? That's the fight. Children, that's two, struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Now, who is she? She is Rebekah, Isaac's wife. All right, she was pregnant, and the children struggled together within her. Then they went to ask the seer why the Most High created that. And the Lord said unto her, the seer said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be what? Separated from thy bowels, okay? And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. They called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Okay? What does that mean? And his name was called Jacob. So Jacob took hold on Esau's heel. Let's get that real quick. All right? We got to explain what the hell is going on here in Babylon the Great and why it's about to be destroyed and how. All right? 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what? This is Ezra's talking to the Most High. He said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first world, the world that we're in now, and the beginning of it that followeth? The beginning of it that followeth is talking about the kingdom of heaven. All right. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. See, it's about to tell you what that means. For Esau is the end of the world, this world that we're in right now, the devil's world. Because this guy right here is the devil, the red devil, right? And his world is coming to an end, and he knows that, all right? And how is his world coming to an end? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Jacob has his hand on Esau's heel. Jacob is about to pull this devil out of his heaven. Esau is falling like lightning from heaven right now, okay? Now, let's prove what his plans are. This is Genesis 27 and 41. And Esau hated Jacob. Why? Because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Guess what? We're in those days now. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right, here's what's going on. All right, Esau has a plan to kill all the Israelites on the face of the earth. As many as he can, and put the rest right back in slavery. Okay? Here's Esau. Here's Jacob. Okay? Let's get without sanctuary. Here's Esau. Here's Jacob. Okay? Now, when we go to this, okay? When we go to this, I forgot to say, here's Jacob. That's Jacob. Okay? And we know what role Esau played in this. Jacob, Kunta, and Esau. Okay? It's just that simple. You got a problem with the truth, I understand. But the roles will be reversed, okay, according to the Holy Bible. All right? So Where are we here? Okay. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. They know that their time is up. Jacob is about to grab that heel. All right. Now we got to go to Revelation 12. And here's why they're ready to get violent. Okay? These Edomites are ready to get violent. Why? Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, right, is come down unto you. Who's the devil? The red guy. Esau. The nation of Edom. Two nations are in thy womb. The devil was one of them. The red guy with the horns on his head. Having great wrath. What great wrath? Well, we just showed you in Genesis where he's coming to kill his brother. All right? Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. What short time? Well, Jacob's hand is on his heel, grabbing his heel right now. It's the end of his world. Okay? Let's read that again. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? What does that mean? The times. What time are we in? Or when shall be the end of Esau's world, the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? All right. He said, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Why? For Esau is the end of the world, because Jacob is going to pull him out of his heaven. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right? The kingdom of heaven. It's time for the kingdom of heaven to be brought in. By who? By Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, is coming back to subdue all nations. All right? All right? Let's prove that. Let's go here. Let's go to Isaiah 63. Who is this that cometh from Edom? Okay? From the devil's heaven that we're in right now, with dyed garments from Basra. This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to Savior. Who's the Savior? The one you ignorantly call Jesus. He's going where? He's coming from Edom after he done killed a bunch of people. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the winepress? Here's Yahushua. He's going to tell you why. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stand on my raiment. Whose blood? Edom. Jacob is going to pull Edom out of their heaven. Who's going to do it? Yahushua. All right. All right, so let's get this real quick. Here's what's coming. Here's the fight. This is 2nd Ezra. Let's go to 15. We'll get this one. We'll go ahead and close up. Oh, start right here at 14. 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth not. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. What did this guy say? These guys are ready to resort to violence? Who? Esau is ready to pull out his last card, the sword.
Violence to achieve their political objectives. And we're going to look at that right now.
Wait a minute.
From the Public Religion Research Institute that looks very specifically at who are the Americans that are willing to turn to violence to achieve their political objectives. And we're going to look at that right.
Their political objective is to try to stay in power and to try to prevent their heaven from being destroyed. And it's not going to happen because the one that you ignorantly called Jesus is coming back, right? To put you down, all right? For there, this is Revelation 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. Okay? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's talking about blockades. All right? Now here's the violence that David Pakman was talking about. For because of their pride, what? They're proud Americans. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. We got trouble right here in River City with a capital T, right? With a capital P, that's the capital T, which rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? So that explains what this violence is. Now openly support violence. Yeah, you're trying to hang on to your heaven that is falling like lightning. All right, let's get that real quick. I believe it's 14. Let's get this one real quick. Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Lucifer is the light bearer, which goes into Esau's learned men, if you will, the Chaldeans or whatever. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations, all right? So they saw him fall like lightning. Let's get that. This is the same thing. This is Luke 10 and 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan. Who's Satan? That's Esau, the adversary. As lightning fall from what? From his heaven. This is his heaven. Okay? His heaven is the land that he stole from the North American Indians. Okay? Who stole it? Satan did. The word Satan just means adversary. Are they not adversaries, Jacob and Esau? All right? It is what it is. All right? So with that, we hope that the elect were edified, that we're going to say shalom.